Hey, what up everyone, this is Mondo All Day, back with another video. In this video, I'll be doing a build guide for Kitty Pryde. I'll be going over which artifacts we use, which uniques I use, which medallion, as well as go over the power points, where I placed them, my omegas, and hero synergies, and at the very end, show you my rotation and kind of give you some tips and pointers as far as how I was able to pass Cosmic Trial with this build. Do keep in mind, this is using around 3,000 omegas or so. So again, this is just a build guide for me to show you guys what I used in order for me to pass Cosmic Trial with Kitty Pryde. So let's get right into it. And excuse the mess, I know I have a lot of stuff here. My stats are getting full, but yeah, excuse the mess. So first thing we're going to look at is artifact. So the first artifact is Scroll Nick Fury's eye patch. I'm using this for the defense rating increase, damage rating to bosses, and health increase. Then I'm using the Book of Demonicas for the +3 to all attributes. Then I'm using Red Skull Medallion for the brutal damage rating, and when you brutally strike, you gain +2 durability, +2 fighting, and +2 strength for 5 seconds. And that's a very good medallion because she is physical damage based, so having that +2 strength and fighting is really good, and plus having that +2 durability to increase the defense and health is really good too, so keep that in mind. Then I'm using Black Cat's Advanced Grappling Hook for the +1 fighting, the dodge rating, damage rating to bosses, critical hit rating, the move speed increase, as well as damage rating to movement powers. Not so much relevant, but it's something. Then I'm using Mayhem Demon Blood for the health increase, physical damage rating increase, and also 10 stacks to gain +1 fighting, +1 speed. And for the uniques, I'm using all of our uniques, as you can see here. All of your uniques, so all of your uniques are pretty strong as is. You can replace one or two, but personally, with all of your uniques, I felt like they're all pretty good as is. So, and then I'm using Bloodstone Demon Band. I'm using this for the physical damage rating increase, regenerate. Oh, it's kind of irrelevant, but +1 fighting, +1 intelligence, +1 durability, and defense rating. So this is a pretty decent roll because I gained that +1 fighting and durability, and a defense rating increase because this is a melee build, and so you want that durability to go up a little bit and have that defense rating increase. So this is a really good Bloodstone Demon Band for her. And then for the costume, grade 1 through 4 critical damage rating, and for the core, I have it to where I take 4.4% less damage from area powers. I gain 400 health when on enemy hit, and then I also have it to where 1,000 defense rating increase. So this might not be the best core, but the reason why I chose this is because it grants me not only the defense rating increase, but also I gain 400 health on enemy hit. And since this is a melee build, you want to get that health regeneration as much as possible. Insignia, I'm using Insignia of Gamora. When you hit with any power, you and your allies gain 265 damage rating and 412 brutal damage rating increase for 8 seconds. But also this insignia grants me a defense rating, which is over 1,000, and health increase, which is over 1,300. So again, this is a very good one because this is a melee build, and so this will definitely, work together with this build. And then I'm using for the pet, I have it to where I want to get one thing, which is +2 durability. So for the forge, 800 defense, and I have it blessed to where I gain +1 durability, defense rating increase, and health increase. I'm assuming you guys see the pattern here that this is a melee build. I want to increase your durability, defense, and health. So, and then legendary, I'm using Excalibur because of the damage rating to melee powers, defense rating increase, critical hit rating, and also to regenerate 200 health when you hit. So combined, rank 5 of 200 health with the costume core, which is 400 health. That's 600 health increase per hit. So it's pretty good for her. And then for
how much longer is this going to be?
Team up, I'm using Quicksilver. Alright, power points. It's pretty simple, straightforward, top to bottom, left to right. So we have here Intangible. That's a passive and toggle. I maxed it out. I have Spitballs, 11 there. 1 to my pet Purple Dragon. Katasha Slash, 1 there. Ogun's Training, that's a passive as well. And crowd control immunity, so max that out. Just a phase, max it out. Watch your step, max it out. Signature, which is always when it's max that out. A Heartbreaker, max it out. Shadow and Flame, max it out. And then this Discipline Strike, 11 there. Okay, Omegas, there you go. As you can see, roughly around 3,000, 4,000, excuse me. It's 4,000? Oh, actually, just over 3,000 or so, give or take. So, it's pretty amount of Omegas. She's pretty strong. Alright, so, Neural Enhancement, 2 to Tactical Neural Implant for the critical damage increase and melee critical hit rating increase. Arcane Attunement, nothing there. Interstellar Exploration, 1 to Earth for the base damage increase. 2 to Hala for the damage rating, brutal strike rating, and critical hit rating to physical powers increase. And then Sakar, 2 there for the deflect rating and melee damage increase. Nothing there. Mutation, 3 to Warpath for the fighting. 2 to Frenzy for when you hit with a melee power, you gain critical hit rating, or critical damage rating increase. Excuse me. Brodiac Origins, again, any melee character, I always use this here. 2 to A-Bomb, 1 for Harpy, and then 1 for Lyra. Nanotechnology, 6 Spintech for the damage rating to bosses. Human Augmentation, 1 for the Reaver program for the physical damage increase, and then 1 for Deathlock program for the physical damage rating increase. Psionics, 6 to Melt Phase for the brutal strike, brutal damage rating, and then 1 for Focus Strength of Groom for the +7 strength. Nothing there, and that's it. Hero Synergies, Dr. Doom for the signature damage increase, Elektra for the physical damage rating and damage increase to bosses, Hawkeye for the move speed and critical damage rating, Luke Cage for total defense rating and physical damage increase, Moon Knight for the critical rating to physical powers, Nightcrawler for the melee power damage increase, Rogue for health on hit and spirit increase, Spirit, 1 spirit per hit, Scroll Girl for the damage rating to bosses, War Machine for the 10 spirit increase of 1 fighting attribute, and then Wolverine for the brutal strike rating and brutal damage rating. So, regarding her build, she's fairly simple. So, let's go over here and show you my rotation. So let me go over the powers really quick as far as how I have it set up. So for hotbar number 3, I have the 2 toggles, which is my pet purple dragon. I have that on so that way I can use one of his powers. But the good thing is when you have this toggled on, you automatically get this Lockhead spirit. So it has its own spirit. So anytime you use a power that utilizes the Lockhead, which is a little dragon, it has its own spirit and it uses it right here. So all you have to do is toggle it on. See now that it's gone. So that's what I have that. Then I have Intangible. It's a toggle as well too, apart from a passive. And I have it toggled on because when you have it turned on, let me turn this on. When you have the toggled on, when you're out of combat, which I am right now, you become stealth, which regenerates 3,000 health per second. So that's pretty good for her. So again, that's why I have it on. So regarding my powers, again, I'm just going to go over which powers I have it set up here. It's a very simple rotation, and I'll go over that in a bit, but let me just go over this really quick. So, as a basic, let's just get this out the way. Katana Slash. Use this whenever you're low on spirit. Just use this power, Katana Slash. Excuse me. And the reason why I chose this is because it gives you pretty good amount of damage, but also too, your damage is increased by 25% when you hit enemies affected by your damage over time powers, and I'll go over that in a bit. So then I have Discipline Strike, very good, very similar to Katana, in which that when you hit an enemy that has is affected by your damage over time powers, this damage is increased by 25%. It's pretty useful. Then I'm using Spitballs, Shadow and Flame, Watch Your Step, Heartbreaker, and then Signature, and of course Movement, which is walking through walls. And then on my help bar number 2, which is I have here Ogun's Training, which is crowd control immunity. So my advice is, especially doing Cosmic Trial, activate this whenever you can. So keep that in mind. And then I'm using Just a Phase, you gain vulnerability. Your attack and move speed are increased by 13%. Your damage is increased by 32%. Regenerate health per second. Restore spirit. This is really good. So again, I'll usually activate these 2 together, but definitely want to activate Ogun's training, especially because this is a melee build, so you want to be crowd control immunity for the longest time. So these are just my active powers. So now let's get into the good stuff, the rotation. It's probably one of the easiest rotation. For some people it might be boring, but to me personally, I think it's a simple build, and I was able to pass Cosmo Trial with this build. So the rotation, it's pretty simple. First thing I usually do is activate Spitballs. That way I can start doing the area damage, but more importantly, I get to use her damage over time, which is a fire. So let me show you how it looks like. See, that's damage over time. And the good thing about it too, when you have this toggle on, which is my pet purple dragon, it automatically does damage. So that's very good. So the first thing I usually do is Spitballs. Alright. After that, I use Shadow and Flame. I use this because not only does it do quite a bit of damage, physical damage, but also does the dragon does a damage by itself too. So let me show you how it looks. There we go. I was going too close, but I usually use this. Usually it's closer, but I like Shadow and Flame because what it does is, again, when you're close, not only does it do quite a bit of damage with physical, but also does energy damage, but also it does area damage too. And again, to this power, damage is increased by 10% to lock-in powers and buddy system for 10 seconds. So I believe I'm not using that power. I think it increases the damage to buddy system and lock-in power. So basically, when you activate Shadow and Flames and you use any other power from this portion right here, which is the Lockheed, which is the dragon, so the damage is increased by 10%. Meaning, if I were to use Shadow and Flame first and then Spitballs will increase the damage by 10% because of this buff here that grants by Shadow and Flame. Now you might think, well, why not come out and use Shadow and Flame first, then Spitballs? Well, the good thing Spitballs is you can activate it whenever you can because it uses Lockheed Spirit. So that's why I use Spitball first to get the damage over time and the area damage, then do Shadow and Flame. Okay, so that's my first thing I usually do when doing, especially Cosmic Trial, is Spitballs, and then get closer and then do Shadow and Flame. You want to get close though, because that way when you activate Shadow and Flame, you can do the physical damage, but as well as the Lockheed damage and does area damage. Okay, so continue with it. First thing I do is Spitballs, then Shadow and Flame. After that, start utilizing my Discipline Strike. This is my go-to power majority of the time until my spirit is really low. Then I use the basic, which is Katana Slash. But the reason why I use this power is because this does not only does quite a bit of damage, but also too, and again, similar to Katana, it does damage over enemies that are affected by damage over time powers, which is Spitballs. This damage is increased by 25%. So very, very good, and it does a lot of damage by itself. Alright, so again, the first thing I do is Spitballs, and then Shadows and Flame. After that, use Discipline Strike, maybe twice, and then after that, start utilizing these powers right here. Okay, which is Watch Your Step and Heartbreaker. Watch Your Step does a lot of area damage, and so this is very good because again, it does a lot of area damage, and what it does is it turns them it's like phasing. So what does that mean? Or not phasing, but what it does is it brings them down underground, so to speak. And I'll show you. Well, you can't really show you here, but whenever you activate this power, it brings them down, and you become invulnerable. So it's very, very good. Especially for a melee build, you want to be invulnerable as possible because that way you won't get any damage done to you. So again, my rotation is pretty simple. I just toggle this off because I don't want to keep hearing that damage. But anyways, so after you use Discipline Strike twice, activate these powers right here, which is Watch Your Step and then Heartbreaker. Watch Your Step is I'm using this because of the damage it does a lot. Vulnerability, enemies take 10% extra damage. You are invulnerable for the duration of this power. Critical damage and brutal damage by 40% for 10 seconds. So your critical damage and brutal damage are increased by 40% for 10 seconds. That's why I use this power a lot. And the good thing about this again is because this does you become invulnerable, meaning you're kind of like invisible, so to speak. And so when you activate this power, again, I can't show you here, but if you watch my Cosmic Trial video, when you activate this power, it brings them down underneath and then brings them up. And the good thing is that any enemies that are area, like, it does a lot of area damage, and so any enemies that are affected by it also get damaged too. They're to this from this power. So I'm gonna activate it, that way you can see what I mean. See, you saw the area damage. You saw how it went down. When I activate that power, it brings down the enemy too. Okay, and then Heartbreaker. Again, I'm using this power because of quite a amount of damage it does, but also this power deals a critical hit, and also a critical and brutal damage, plus 40% for this power. So this does a lot of damage as is. So when you combine the buff from Watch Your Step with Heartbreaker, it's just gonna do, again, you're kind of stacking up your power, your damage. And this also does stun duration too, so it stuns the enemy. So it looks something like this. See, now you want to be close to it too. With this power, you want to be close to your enemy, that way, because if you're from a distance, you ain't gonna get that much. But when you're closer, most likely you're gonna do damage to that enemy. So my rotation, it's pretty simple. Activate or toggle on for my pet dragon. Simple. The first thing I do is spitballs, and then Child of Flame, then two this one strike if you want, and then do the bubble plus these two, and then and that's really my rotation. And after that, just keep doing damage with this one strike, and then randomly do spitballs, and then just again, and just keep doing damage with this one strike, spitballs, and then boom, and then spitballs, and just keep doing it. You want to keep using spitballs because, again, spitball not only does it do a lot of area damage, but also enemies that are, it does damage over time. So enemies that are affected by damage over time power, which is spitballs, this power, Discipline Strike, its damage is increased by 25%. Hence why, if you watch my Cosmic Trial video, I use up a lot of spitballs, because I want to, for one, it does a lot of area damage. Two, it does damage over time. And so whenever I hit an enemy with Discipline Strike, I'm getting a 25% increase of damage. It's like a buff. Alright, so these two usually go together. Discipline Strike and Spitballs. Alright, and then for these three, which is Shadow and Flame, you Watch Your Step, Heartbreaker, honestly activate them whenever you can. The good thing about Shadow and Flame, when you activate this, I would say use Spitballs right after, because again, with Shadow and Flame, your blockade powers and buddy system is increased by 10% for 10 seconds. So meaning, all you do is you activate this power. When you activate Spitballs, your damage is increased by 10%. And then, not only that, when you activate this power, it does damage over time. So when you activate Discipline Strike, you're getting 25% extra damage with Discipline Strike, because they're affected by damage over time powers. You see what I mean? You're just kind of you're stacking your buffs little by little. And then obviously Watch Your Step, simple. It's just activated whenever you can. Ideally, you want to activate it to an enemy where you can do the mass majority of area damage. I'll just show you what I mean. So for instance, if you're doing Cosmic Trial, let me put this away, and you walk here, and let's just say you're doing Cosmic Trial, and then you're doing, this is the enemy you want to do damage to. I would say try to pick, how can I say this, like try to somehow move around to where so that your enemies can come closer together and clump up. That way when you activate Watch Your Step on this enemy, not only does it do damage to the specific enemy, but also does a lot of area damage and brings them down too. So this is what I mean. So I'm gonna activate Watch Your Step, and I want you to see like a little bit of area damage. See, 1 million right there. So it does quite a bit of area damage. But again, I would say if you're doing Cosmic Trial, try to walk around, so that way your enemies, you can kind of bring your enemies together. So that way when you want to do damage to this one individual, or this I guess we say villain, or whoever you want to do damage to. That way, the more clumped up they are, when you activate Watch Your Step, the more effective it's going to be. So that way you're guaranteeing yourself that you're going to do a lot of area damage. And then obviously my advice is, when you do Watch Your Step, activate Heartbreaker. That way, since you're activating Watch Your Step on that specific enemy, when you activate Heartbreaker, you're going to hit that enemy. So go here, just like that. That way, because again, a Heartbreaker is melee, so if you're from a distance, you might not, if you want damage, you might get it, you might not. It was kind of close. So if I was here, Heartbreaker, see what I mean? So for me personally, I usually activate Heartbreaker right after Watch Your Step. So if this is my enemy, Watch Your Step here, and then Heartbreaker, and just keep doing damage. And that's really it, honestly. And again, just activate these whenever you can. That way you get that buff, and then also 2 Hogan's training, vulnerability, and that's really it, you guys. This is pretty simple build, like I said, I know. But again, this is my build guide for Kitty Pryde. It's very simple, I know. Some of you might be thinking that's it. That's it. She's pretty strong as is. And just to reiterate, simple, activate Spitballs whenever the first thing you do, so that way you can start doing area damage, but also damage for time. And then after that, do Shadow's Flame, do a couple of Dismissed Strikes, and then do Spitballs again. But you want to keep Spitballs activated because it does, again, area damage and also damage over time. Plus, from the buff that Shadow and Flame grants you, which is any lockhead powers you use, you gain 10% extra damage. So if you use Spitballs after Shadow and Flame, you get that 10% extra buff. And when you use Spitballs, you also do damage over time. And any enemies you hit with Discipline Strike, that are affected by Spitballs, damage over time, your damage is increased by 25% to Discipline Strike. Same with Katana Slash. It's very, very similar. Damage is increased by 25% when enemies are affected by your damage over time powers, or effects, excuse me. So again, use Discipline Strike. When you're low on Spirit, just use Katana Slash, because you still get that buff. And then for Watch Your Step, Heartbreaker, pretty simple, like I said right here. Pick an enemy. Usually I use these two together, because that way, if I'm from a far distance, and when I use Watch Your Step, I can use Heartbreaker right after, because she jumps into the enemy's close range, and then I can use Heartbreaker right away. That way I can do like quite a bit of damage. So this is what I mean. This is the damage here, enemy. Boom. And the good thing about Watch Your Step is that you're invulnerable during duration, but more importantly, critical damage and brutal damage plus 40% for 10 seconds. So when you activate Heartbreaker, which this power always deals critical hit, your critical damage and brutal damage plus 40% for this power. So you kind of stacking it up, and then after that, for this buff, which grants you critical damage and brutal damage for 10 seconds, is increased. It's like a buff when you do your rotation again, which is Spitballs, Shadow and Flame, and then Discipline Strike, or whatever. It's gonna do, again, you're just kind of stacking your buffs. So she has quite a bit of buffs, and they're pretty strong. So I think that's what she's really, really strong. So yeah, this is my build guide for Kitty Pryde. Hopefully this was helpful and useful for you guys. Again, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, not too complex compared to other characters. But yeah, I was able to pass Cosmo Trial with Kitty Pryde with this build. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. And that's really it, you guys. Yeah, this is my build guide for Kitty Pryde. Sorry for taking so long. I just got caught up with a lot of things, a lot of errands I had to do, so to speak. Also, too, I've been playing another game as well too. I'm sure you guys heard of it, which is Warframe. I'm considering making videos for Warframe as far as like beginners guys, so to speak, because it's a bit weird at first. So I'm considering making a video or two to Warframe. I don't know. I don't just say. Just let me know what you guys think, if I should or shouldn't. But yeah, if this video was helpful for you guys, please let me know in the comment section below. Any requests for certain characters, leave it in the comment section below. If you want to see more up-to-date videos of mine, please do subscribe to my channel. Not only does it help the channel a lot, but it means a lot to me as well. And that's it, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this build guide for Kitty Pryde. Again, simple, straightforward, not too complex. She's pretty strong, so I think you guys can have fun with her. I think she's pretty fun. I took a break from her because I didn't really like her, but then once someone requested Kitty Pryde and I wanted to replay and go thoroughly again, and then she's pretty good, pretty simple. And that's it, you guys. So again, hopefully you enjoyed the video and hopefully it's helpful and useful. And that's it. On to the next one. Bye bye.